All right. Well, here we are with Spirit Mountain Healing Center and Michelle Goss. I'm so excited and happy to bring to you this amazing healing modality. One of the reasons that I put on this series is to share with the world people who are suffering. And I trust that you will either be listening to this live or hear the recording, that there are other ways of healing, and they're so powerful. They're very effective, and we just want you to know about it. And so it brings me great pleasure to introduce to you Miss Michelle Goss and the Spirit Mountain Healing Center. What an amazing place for people to come and to heal. I'm so glad to have you here with me, Michelle. Can you tell us how this came into being?
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me on today. Yeah, I love what I do, and you're right. It's powerful, and not everything works for one person directly. So I guess the story starts, the joke was, the first word out of my mouth was horse, not mom and dad. I've always had a passion for horses ever since I can remember, anything with horse. I grew up in rural Wisconsin, and so in the fair that we always had the pony rides. I got kicked off of it when I got too big. So anything to do with horses, I was there. So they have been my passion since I can remember. I got my first horse when I was about 10, and haven't looked back since.
It tells me that this is your purpose. This is absolutely your life purpose. You are operating in your life purpose. That's awesome.
Absolutely. I originally was going to be an equine vet, and got connected with when my parents divorced and moved with my mom, and that I got connected to a place where I was keeping my horse, and he started teaching me how to train and take care of my horse. She was young, and that was the end of that. I went to University of Wisconsin River Falls and got my Bachelor of Science in Equine Science, my minor in small business, and said, I'm going to be a trainer and an instructor, and went out and made that happen. Been down here in Arizona for nearly 25 years. I had a huge farm in Chandler called Tailor Made Training, and was very successful with that. Life happened, had a daughter, you name it, economy, all those sort of things. Kind of found myself looking at, got divorced, and kind of went, okay, what do I do with the rest of my life? And got connected with Equine Assisted through a friend of mine, went to a clinic down in Tucson, and went, this is where I belong. This is my purpose. This is my passion, helping people. I realized I've always had a holistic approach on teaching people with horses and that. So I got my master's in counseling psychology in the field of equine assisted mental health. And over the years, I graduated in December of 2014. Over the years, kind of developed, it went through different names and stages and development. I lost my mom in December of 2017. I'm an only child, so I lost my best friend and lost my way. But in that process, that's how Spirit Mountain Healing Center got services got launched. It's the spirit of my mom, and that she, without her, I wouldn't make it. I wouldn't be here, not only physically, but just everything that she's done to support me in that. So her spirit is here. The spirit of the horses too, to help us heal and connect. Mountains, I grew up traveling in the mountains, Mom, and I love the mountains. And mountains can show, give us shelter and support, and they're magnificent and, different in that. So came up with Spirit Mountain Healing Services, which I'm now a nonprofit organization, a 501c3, and
wonderful.
Going forward in the honor of my mom and her spirit.
What a powerful story. Such a foundation for everything that you're doing. That is just amazing. And it sounds like it started from birth.
I would have to say so. I mean, anybody that even has a clue with me knows that if you don't know what to get me something with a horse, I'm okay.
That's beautiful. You probably, in addition to the live horses, have horses all over throughout the house. I know I'm one for giraffes, and kids like to come and count the number of giraffes in the house, with the pictures. And so I imagine
mine are between horses and mountains. Those are the things which represent exactly the spirit. And the part of the story, not only do I have 35 years experience working with people and horses in a way that nobody else does. I have my own unique skill set, my education, but I have done this work myself. Without a specific horse in my herd, I would not be here today.
Can you share with us a little bit about, you told me that, and thank you for the tour of the facility is amazing, just amazing, that the horse saved your life. If you would share with us any story that you wish about the horse saving your life.
I've gone through my own traumas, and I use the word trauma as anything that disconnects us from who we are. I've survived. I do a lot of education on survival and thinking modes, and understanding that we are the only animals on the planet that have the ability to ask why. And we are the only animals on the planet that have the ability to create our own emotional response by thought alone. I know pretty much everybody's experienced either spinning themselves up with anxiety or anger, depression, whatever. And it's because of those thoughts that just keep going and keep us stuck. When he was younger, the specific horse, I was not in a good place. I was divorced. I was kind of floundering. A lot of my stuff was coming up. I come from an abusive family. And of course, my mom was gone. Well, my mom was at that time, but just life changing, trying to figure out how to be a single divorced mom, figuring out how I'm going to live in this world, make money, just where do I belong and who am I? And he actually spun me off of him. I've trained all my own horses all my life, but he spun me off, and I lost all my confidence in myself. I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust the world. And I looked for every which way to Sunday to find a different way to be able to ride this horse. And the universe pretty much said, you either need to let it go or figure out how to get through it yourself. And I reached out for help. I put my ego aside and reached out for help to a local trainer. To this day, I believe the higher power guided me to him. He was exactly what I needed, and taught me through time and patience and that working with this horse on how to get my confidence back, how to keep myself safe, how to work with my horse in partnership rather than codependency. And just some huge breakthroughs. This horse taught me to ground myself. I guess one of the most powerful stories is I'd go to get on him and check everything and be standing at his shoulder, and my brain was kind of part here, part not there. We're off trying to, I got to do this. I got to get this done, going 90 miles an hour. And this horse literally wrapped his head around me and pulled me into his neck, not hurting me or anything, and wouldn't let me go. And when I struggled, he just held harder, and to the point that his eyelashes were on my face. And after several days of this happening, finally went, okay, he's trying to tell me something. What's going on? I need to be open to this. And I realized that he was helping me come into the present moment and be with him in that moment, that everything else could wait because what's important is what's in front of me right now. And yeah, once I started
know that the horse can do that. I mean,
to breathe into it, to accept it in that moment, he would let me go. And to this day, I go to check in with him. He will still hug me if I need grounding. He will still hold space for me. The partnership that I have developed with this horse is more than I could ever imagine. And the partnership I've developed with myself is what has allowed me to get through life. And, I'm still human. I still have all the feelings, but he has taught me how to manage them. And I mean, a while ago, last year, with all COVID and just all this garbage going on, I felt like I was really stuck and negativity through my head, and that I was still managing through my life. But I turned to him and went, okay, he'll tell me where I'm at. And it took me
Mm.
a while to figure out, because I felt I was a wreck, and he was not showing that to me. He was supporting me. He followed me. He hugged me. He was there, till I realized what he was telling me was, I was processing this stuff. I wasn't stuffing it anymore. I wasn't trying to hide from it, ignore it, any of that. I was allowing the process to come through. And that's not comfortable, painful at worst case scenario, but I let go of that. And he showed me that I was okay, that I was aware of what was going on rather than just not being aware. And that really helped to release that. And to this
Wow.
day, he
Wow.
just is
And
amazing. And the other
it
horse
is amazing. And what's coming to my mind as I'm listening to you is that this was all preparing you to help others
yes,
in the same way.
absolutely.
You know, I just see the universe working in a powerful way to help, knowing that we would be where we are in this mental emotional health crisis,
Mhm.
and providing everything that we need for, because like you said, everybody doesn't have the same or doesn't respond to the same uh, healing modality. And so he brings in the horses. He brings in Michelle, whom he's groomed up from birth. He knew. And
Yes.
I say he, but the universe is transgender. It doesn't have a gender. But that's just my upbringing. And I just am amazed and excited for the help that is available to people, no matter what, no matter where you've been from, no matter where you are right now. Can you share with us one of the stories that stood out to you with one of the people that came to you for help, for healing?
Yeah. Wow. There's a lot of them. I'm actually
I'm
working
sure.
on my book that will have these stories. Um,
Awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. The
with
book will have to be, we'll be
with
looking forward to that.
confidentiality, no names, but just the stories, because it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. We're the
Yeah.
only animals on the planet that care about names anyway. That's partly why when people come here, whether it's a tour or for services, I do not say the horses' names, because they meet us where we're at as who we are. And especially if we're lost, we hang on to that name and certain things that just can get in the way.
Exactly.
Eventually, if people stay with me long enough, the names come out, and they're so appropriate how they come out, and whatnot. But
I love it. I love it. From the very beginning, it's a different experience, because you're right. One of the first things people do when they walk up to a person with an animal, any animal, or even the person, what's your name? And you
right.
say, forget that.
Yep, I do something completely different. I think with that, the story that's coming to my mind is that really resonates with this, and why I do this is I work with Canyon Vista Recovery Center. I do their group every Saturday morning.
Mm.
And this is a while ago, but there was a guy that came fairly fresh into recovery, and we were doing activity out in the arena, and he actually connected with one of the horses and felt the energy and that. So he
Mm.
came several more times and made progress, and I love watching that. Just a short time period, once a week, I can see huge progress, and so can they. It was
Wow.
his final week. I think he'd been here for three Saturdays in a row. And I brought out one of the big horses and one of the miniatures and was having them do an activity. And it was a smaller group, and they really support each other and got through it. And we were getting ready to put the horses back. So one took the miniature back to his pen, and he asked if he could take the big guy, as he's called a lot, back to the paddock. And I said, sure. So I kind of followed and kept an eye on everybody. And he put the horse in the big paddock and turned him loose. And he's like, this is my man. This is my bud, I'm really connected
Mm.
with him. And I looked at him and I said, who does he remind you of? And he stopped for a second and he thought, and he goes, well, myself. And I said, okay, I get that. I says, but who in your life has been there, who has your back, who's solid and strong for you, that gets you?
Mm.
And he stopped for a second and his affect changed and he just looked at me and he goes, oh my God, that's my brother. And I said, wow, that's really cool. And he goes, yeah, he's not with me anymore. He
Mm.
lost his brother. I don't know all the details, but in that moment, the healing that his brother was with him, he still
Mm.
had his back,
Mm.
was so powerful in that moment. It was tangible. It was palpable in that moment. You could feel it. And he was emotional, but it was in a positive way. And you could see the relief come across him going, yeah, he may not be here physically, but I can feel him. I know he's there watching me. And I know to this day, if I'd said the name of this horse, that probably would have never happened. And that's exactly what he needed going forward, because he was going to graduate out of recovery and move forward with his recovery,
Wow.
knowing that his brother had his back.
Yeah. And Spirit Mountain, what an appropriate name for the
Exactly.
work that's being done there, and how it even came into being. Just so beautiful. So
Yeah.
appropriate.
So,
And the the power of that spirit working through him. So I'm just kind of curious. This is what came up to me. Was the horse's name associated with the brother in any way?
I have no idea.
Okay,
I
because you
didn't
never
actually
found out
check
the brother's
into it.
name, and he didn't
It
find out the
didn't feel
horse's
like it
name.
was appropriate at that time. And so I let it go.
Yeah.
And it's very possible that it was connected somehow
Yeah,
to
I'm
that.
thinking that the brother's spirit was definitely in that horse.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
a beautiful story. And I'm sure, like you said, there's many, many stories.
That's why the first book will be out with that, and it'll have series, I'm pretty sure, because this is an unending thing.
Yeah.
And the power just to know, I know there's people out there that will connect with these stories, that we're not islands unto our own, though we may feel that way.
Not by any means.
And to help connect that, to know that they're not alone, whether they reach out for services or not, just to know that, hey, these people that have been here, their stories can help heal others. And that's the biggest issue or biggest goal with Spirit Mountain Healing Services as a nonprofit, is I want to reach as many people as possible, whether it's directly or indirectly, because like you were saying earlier, the mental health crisis is we
Real.
were in a crisis before pandemic. It's become even more so. The suicide rates for teenage. I was just at a meeting not too long ago about teen suicide in the city of Queen Creek. It was the Attorney General came in. She had stats from 2019, but 5 to 15-year-olds suicide rates were up 19%. And 15 to 25-year-olds were up 32%. I just got a message last night from a previous client whose daughter is seeking services, and she wants to be here. Mom wants to bring her here as well, because her daughter's friend just committed suicide yesterday.
Wow. Yeah, someone just shared with me about a high school student right here in Chandler, 10th grade.
Yep. I have a 14-year-old daughter who's a freshman. I've received many emails from the school this year with losses. They don't state suicide, but we can pretty much assume there's a lot of that and other issues, and it is affecting. My daughter's fully aware of those things, but the mental health crisis is only beginning. And to me, the biggest thing that we're struggling with is people are aware they have emotions, good, bad, and different. I don't care if you're male, female, transgender, whatever. If you're a human, you're aware of that. But where I see where my niche is and my purpose is to teach those teach people how to manage them.
How to manage them.
Because I ask that question constantly to clients, whether it's a group, individuals, whatever. So you're aware you have emotions. Great. Do you know how to manage them? How do you work at it? And I get blank stares. I get, well, I stuff it. I do that. No, that's not managing it. And that's the power of the horses, because we don't have to sit here and talk about everything. I mean, you were here yourself yesterday. I know very little about you, except we're in the same field, but personally, nothing. And we were able to have some discussions around some things that just showed themselves with the horses. I'm the facilitator. This has nothing to do with me. It has to do with the clients. As I always say, my clients are the captain of their journeys. I am just the navigator. Kind of the joke is, if you're going to run into an iceberg, I'm going to do my best to warn you about that. But if you want to choose to run into it, okay, we'll figure out what we do with it. We'll figure out the how. How do we manage if we run into that iceberg? And that's the power of this. Is, like I said, clients come to me all the time. I know something's not right. I don't know what. Okay, well, let's go play with the horses. Let's go do something. They'll tell us what needs to come up. And I do a lot of education about survival and thinking modes. 99% of our daily activities are all subconscious. And we're not aware. If we're not aware, we can't change it.
Absolutely.
And we spend 90% of our energy stuffing this stuff down, which causes disease, illness, even cancer. It's been found to. And then we create generational patterns, and we all just get stuck in the same quagmire called life. And the horses can help. The horses bring the intangible tangible.
That's amazing. That's just amazing.
Bring it forward, so we actually get to do something with it and get instant feedback in the moment.
Wow.
And then you get to decide, did that work for me or did it not work for me? You get to have that choice. And that's the empowerment right there.
Yes. Yes.
And that, because we all have the choices. They're always there. It's just, if it's blocked and we can't see it.
Can't see it.
I always ask clients, if I could give you 1% of your energy back today, that you get to choose what you do with it and how you spend it, would you be on board? And everybody's like, yeah. And I said, what if we can do that so we can get you to 20% back? We may never get to 90% back, but 20, 30, 40, a higher number, even once a week. And everybody's like, yes. And that's the empowerment, that suddenly we're freer, we're more alive. And then we can choose, how do I give that back? How do I take care of myself first, because I've never been able to? And when we can do that, then we can give back even more. And it becomes instead of a negative spiral, it becomes a positive.
That's the idea.
Yep.
Yes, that is the idea. So for someone listening here right now who is struggling and just sees no hope, just has no hope, what can you say? What would you say to them? Or what would you like?
I can give you at least a glimmer of hope the first time you meet the horses. It's that powerful. I have yet to have anybody walk away, whether it's clients, tours, whatever, walk away and go, man, that sucked. I'll never do that again.
Never.
And I don't ever expect to. Because those that want to do something to improve their lives and stop doing the garbage and want to go live life and do their life purpose, whatever it may be. I can do that, because it's not me, it's the horses. I just facilitate. I'm the bridge between the two. But yeah.
I love this. I love this. And that's what I was thinking, that, when they come in and you just kind of allow it to unfold but with your expertise that has been developed over your life. That is so powerful.
Oh, it's
so powerful.
It's amazing. You were talking earlier about the universe grooming me and, creating and putting all these things. And there was a time in my life, obviously, things were really dark. I felt a lot of the things I was going through or went through were curses, and, I was doomed, our usual. I mean, I'm human too. But as I've gotten on this path and opened things up and healed and whatnot, these are my gifts. And it's, my purpose on this planet is to give those gifts away and to help others and leave my legacy behind, for those that can continue it, so that we can make life better. It's not going to work for everybody. Not everybody wants to do it. We have our own free will, but those that want to be on board, and, with our mental health crisis and falling apart, I'm working very diligently to position myself where I can be supportive, whether it's individual like yourself with Heart Joy and that, where we work collaboratively, or I'm working with Canyon Vista, whether it's during the recovery or post-recovery aftercare. And the other big thing is not only supporting the clientele, but I want to support and need to support the professionals. We're the frontline workers. We're the ones that have gone through COVID, that are helpers and healers with huge hearts and souls. But this stuff affected us too. And as I've gone through this journey through COVID and having to shut the business down and redoing it, and, all the garbage that we've gone through, the one thing that I've seen is, for first responders, frontline workers, hospital workers, nurses, doctors, mental health, coaches, everything. We're the ones that we're the legs of the table.
Yes.
And if we don't, if we lose too many legs, the table's going to collapse.
Yes.
And
yes.
that's why I'm creating the programs that I'm doing, why I'm offering to organizations that I work with, hey, part of it packaged with me and work with me, and I will support you as part of that package. My donation tiers for corporations, I'm offering specifically to them. If you donate XYZ, $2,500, you get one team building and professional development session with me. And I'm working with organizations that do hire me, that we contract work. I'm going to do the same thing for them, and that you do a yearly contract with me, and that for services, and I give you a quarterly team building group exercise, professional development. It's a 2-hour session that's included every quarter, and you can bring whoever you want to it. And let's help support those, because the more we can support the professionals, the more we can help support the clients, which means the clients can support, and this just becomes bigger than all of us, which I believe is my purpose on this planet.
That is so beautiful, and so inspiring to me, and encouraging and uplifting, because this, like you said, this is not a little thing. This is a big thing, and it needs big answers. And I just love what you're doing and what you're bringing to this situation, and in the way that you're bringing it on the corporate level. I could just see hospitals embracing this for their staff.
Absolutely.
From the top all the way down.
Right.
And taking advantage of those team builds. And that's wonderful.
Because if our hospitals, if the staff that runs the hospitals, whether you said upper management all the way down, if they start collapsing, which they are, because of the stressors, being healers and all the things and changes and just
demands. Yeah.
Demands, exactly. Yeah. If the hospitals start collapsing, then those of us that need those services, we don't have it. Now we collapse, and we create this negative downward spiral that will be very challenging to get out of. And we're already on the cusp of that. We're already seeing the Great Resignation. We're seeing nurses disappear. One of my board members is a nurse. She's gotten out of the hospital. She's still a helper healer, but she's finding a different way to help. But we still need hospitals in that.
Yep.
I can heal, but I do need help and support with that. And to me, this is the synergy of this. This is the collaboration of, look, you're going to help me because there's things I can't heal myself. I need help with that. But in return, I'm going to help support you so you can do more. We can do more collaboratively than individualistically.
Absolutely. Such a powerful truth that we need to acknowledge. I failed to give this disclaimer, even though it's behind me, and I'm just going to share it right now. that this is a general discussion about mental health, and it's not meant to be interpreted as specific advice in a specific situation. Every situation can be unique, and this is not meant to replace a psychiatrist or a medical doctor. I just want that to be out there. It's a legal
Absolutely.
disclaimer that I have to give. But I tell you, you're right. We have to, it all works together.
We are herd animals. We are herd animals, just like horses. We need each other. And we've been, this mentality has been fostering for generations of me, myself, and I. And if that were case, if we were truly me, myself, and I, then I would be able to heal myself, take care of all my needs and everything else by myself. I wouldn't need anybody else. Therefore,
No
I'd be out of a job, you be out of a job, et cetera, et cetera. But it doesn't work that way. I have my specialty. I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses. I know, marketing, I learned some things, but it's not my forte. So I hired someone. We won't even touch accounting because numbers. But I work with I always joke, I work with people and horses for a reason, because it's what I'm good at. And it's my expertise and everything. And, I want to work collaboratively. If you have something I need and I have something you need, how do we work together to help that? To make a bigger impact and leave a bigger legacy.
Yes.
When I relaunched this basically in March of 2020, I moved to the location I'm at right now, was working on a grand opening. Things were actually rolling pretty good and I was excited, and we know COVID hit. I lost all my clients. I had to shut everything down, struggled to keep the horses. Trying to figure out what to do next. It became another loss after the loss of my mom that I was just starting to recover from. And I got completely wiped down again. And so figuring out,
you're helping
out figuring out a lot of things, what doesn't work is what led me where I'm at. And so I tried this job, I did this, I did that, and I just couldn't do it until I believe it was the universe at the last job I had in 2021 beginning. I kept walking in and kind of this voice from above, if you will, kept saying, you don't belong here. If you're going to work this hard, go do it for yourself. I've been self-employed pretty much all my life. I grew up that way. And it works best. I don't fit well in a box. But after several 7 days, this kept happening. And I finally went, right, I can't do this. I need to go do what I need to do and figure out and trust that it's going to work. And so I walked into my manager's office that day and I said, I'll be handing in my stuff this afternoon. I'm done.
Wow.
He looked at me and went, huh? And I said, I got to go do what works for me. And March of 2021, threw myself in with the motto of go big or go home, and figure out how to make it through and that. And basically a year later, I'm nonprofit and I'm working on donation, all these things going with it and just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's going to go bigger than I could even ever imagine. And I'm totally okay with that. I'm so humbled for the mindset shift. I used to think things were being done to me, all the garbage and stuff. And I still feel that way some days. I'm human, but more and more I see it's been done for me to bring me to this place so that I can leave my legacy behind and know that I made a difference in this world.
Absolutely. You have made a difference. You'll continue to make a difference. And kudos to you for having the courage to, it took 7 days, but that's okay, because that even that aspect of it has a purpose, because somebody's hearing this or will hear that story or read it in your book and go, okay, I get it. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. We just need that nudge, that to move us gently from where we are, which we were supposed to be there, but now it's time to move. Now it's time to move. And a lot of times we resist that. And the more we resist, the more pain we feel.
That's why the horse I was talking about hugged me and stuff, because that's exactly what I was doing. And I realized, something else is when I made that shift and that leap of faith, I stumbled across an article. I was actually looking at it going, okay, I need some information and inspiration. I know there's huge organizations, Walmart and Virgin Records and Starbucks and many others that have started from very humble beginnings and lost it and came back and all this. And so I just, Googled something about Walmart or something. And the first article popped up was all about Virgin Records, huge places, organizations that are huge that I never even thought or knew about it. And I read this and I went, as I read it, I realized they started off with less than I had. And look where they're at now. And yeah, it took time, it took determination, it took falling apart, it took living life and being in the present moment. But we all know Walmart, we all know Amazon, our life
Virgin Records
changed. Yep. And I realized at that point, if they could do that, and I realized I was at a place that I had more than that, not enough, but more than enough, that why not go for it and make it happen? Because it's my determination, my will, and how I utilize things to leverage where I'm at, because that's what it's about in a positive way, so that I can make a big impact, so that one day when I'm gone, people will possibly associate Spirit Mountain with Walmart type of thing, and go big. Don't know if that'll ever happen, but sure it'd be cool. So
well, it's definitely destined for greatness because of the power that is there, the power in what you're doing that is impacting and making a difference in the lives of people who were suffering.
Absolutely. And that's the key is we're suffering. I mean, we all go through our moments of suffering, but as I say, I help people take a visitor's pass, if you will, to suffering rather than taking up residency, because the rent in residency is way too high.
Way too high. I love that. Renting. Just I was
there. I was paying a rent on suffering and depression and anxiety and all that stuff that was just too high. It was physically killing me. I used to have migraines, blackouts, all sorts of health issues and whatnot. And yeah, that price is too high to pay.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing your personal stories and the evolution of Spirit Mountain. Can you share with us another story that that you would just like to leave us with for hope, for especially for someone who just can't see it,
right?
Someone that maybe that came to you that waited a long time or really was reluctant to come because they just didn't think there was hope for them.
Well, I'll share the story that I shared with you yesterday. I had a client who was in his mid-60s, and he was pretty disconnected from himself, but didn't realize it. He's like, I have all these friends, but his marriage was having problems and just life in general. He was not happy. It was our second session, and I had him do an activity I called the boundary exercise or activity. And I gave him 2 ropes and said, I want you to go into the paddock and however you want to on the ground, create your own space. And there's no right or wrong here. It's totally whatever works for you. And I encourage people to connect with themselves. And even if they don't, that's a discussion we can have, because maybe they're worried about looking stupid or not good enough and the things that we carry. So anyway, he walked in and he said, okay. And he took one of the ropes and basically drew a circle around his feet. And I went, I like a little more space than that, but okay, everybody's unique and different. So he came back out and I said, the second part is I handed him a bucket of feed for the horses. I said, this is your stuff, however you want to define it. If it's negative stuff, positive, physical, emotional, materialistic, whatever, your life. I said, he goes, okay. And I said, I want you to go into your space with the bucket, and the object is to keep the horses out of your stuff and out of your space, however you want to. He goes, got it. Now the horses were standing up close to the gate. I was staying outside, and he walked in, and the horses didn't respond to him. They did not even acknowledge he was there. No ear movement, no head movement, no nothing. And he walked right past him with a bucket of food, and there was no acknowledgement. Most of the time you would expect that a horse would respond. They've got food. They know this bucket, that they like their food, especially the big guy. So he walked to his space, and nobody moved. And so I said, so what do you notice? He goes, they're leaving me alone. I said, you okay with that? He goes, yeah, I'm fine with that. And I thought, I want to disagree with that, but okay. So I tried to talk to him about connecting. He just couldn't. Generally, I do not involve myself in the sessions, but this time I felt I needed to. And so I walked in. I was curious to see if my energy would shift things. And sure enough, the horses came right up to me, followed me, and walked with me over to him. And so we had this conversation as he's feeding the horses from the bucket of his stuff, what it's like that, oh, and there was, I had to come in order to do this, and what the energy was like, and different responses and what he was noticing. So after a few minutes, we came back out, we continued the discussion and started bringing up some of the stuff from the past that he's been severely rejected from and disconnected from those that he loves and really desperately wants and needs them in his life. But he doesn't know how. And he's stuffed it, he's blocked it, he's done everything. So as we discussed this and just brought up this stuff, we didn't really have to do anything, just acknowledge that it's there. It's not who we are, though it does feel that way. It's just part of who we are. And so then I said at the end, and I think this is the most powerful part, I said, how about you go back in without the space, without the ropes, the bucket, just go in with yourself, with that acknowledgement of what we just discussed, that this stuff has happened to you, but it's not who you are. It's just part of you. And see what happens with the horses. See if you can connect with yourself. And he goes, all right, I'll give it a shot. And as soon as he walked in, the horses acknowledged him. They moved towards him. And eventually all three of them surrounded him, head towards him, holding space for this man. Wow. And it was tangible. And he looked at me with tears coming down his eyes, going, I can feel their support. I can feel their love for me. Even though I've gone through all this stuff, they see me. And I said, do you feel loved right now? And he says, yeah, I do. And he says, I can feel it. It's palpable. It's right there. And he goes, I don't remember the last time when I've ever felt this way. And that's the power right there, to open, to reconnect with ourselves, transforming lives through horse-guided learning. Wow. I helped him learn about himself, that it's not, that stuff isn't who he is, it's just part of him, and that he had a choice, and that there was hope to connect and possibly make things better. Who knows with the family members and that, but at least he had an option, and we figured out ways to try to reach out, connect, and get information so that he could make choices about moving forward rather than just being stuck. And it shifted his marriage, it shifted his friendships, it shifted things positively and negatively, but he had that information, and he felt that he was in the present moment more connected with self.
That's a powerful story, because our relationship with ourself sets the tone for all of our other relationships. Absolutely. For every other relationship.
We affect everybody, whether we're aware, and it's back to that subconscious thing, 99% of it, we're not aware we're doing it.
Exactly.
We wonder why we keep getting the same stuff.
Yep.
And we're not happy, and we're not this, and it's because we're disconnected. If you cannot connect with self, how do you connect with others? And he proved that. The fact that he was so disconnected from himself, he couldn't even connect with a horse. But the moment he did connect with himself, he connected with others. And it takes practice and time, but that instant feedback right then and there is so powerful. And we did that in an hour.
Wow. Wow.
That session was an hour long. We're not talking
Hour.
weeks and months and years. We're talking very short time. This is very cost effective. This is very time effective. And here's the thing, it is sustainable because you are learning it. As I ask clients, name me something in your life you have learned not through an experience, good, bad, or indifferent. And you can't come up with anything. We've learned it. It's just whether we're aware of it or not that we've learned it. And that's where our
Right.
behavioral patterns come in, because we learn those unconsciously. But when we bring it forward through the horses, so it becomes conscious, it becomes tangible, you're actually working with your emotions and that with this horse and your energy in that moment and getting feedback. And then you've got that choice. Did
Real
that work
time.
for me? Yeah, it did. Okay. Question I always ask, how did you do it? Well, I have no idea. All right, well, we're going to keep practicing till you learn how. If you're
Wow.
going to learn to be a chef, you have to learn how to cook. If you're going to learn be a computer programmer, you have to learn how to do it. If you're going to learn to manage your emotions and your life, you need to learn the how. And the horses do that so graciously and effectively.
Wow. I am just in awe of the work that you're doing, because yes, the horses are doing it and they would do it if we went it, but we wouldn't understand. We wouldn't
Right.
know how to interpret what's going on. And so that's the powerful piece that you bring, to bring it all together.
People always ask me, what training do the horses have? I said, none, they're horses. It's my training. It's my experience. It's what I bring. And like I said, I'm the bridge between the two. I'm collaborating and connecting that, yeah, because otherwise, and I do, a lot of clients are like, okay, I just had this experience, but what do I do with it? What does it mean? It's like, so I'll ask the question, well, what does it mean to you? Well, I don't know. All right, well, let's explore this. Let's figure it out. You know, are you carrying, I'm not good enough, I'm stupid, I'm not safe, I don't know how to do this, I don't, and most of us don't know how to navigate our life as we need to be in a better balance, more peaceful, to be able to deal with life throwing us curveballs, because it does, and understand that.
Yeah. And it sounds like you have a lot of wonderful tools in your toolbox. In addition to the horses kind of reveal, but then it's like, okay, now what? What are we going to do with that? And then when you bring them back into the horses, they show, aha, you got it.
Exactly. The basics of how I operate is I kind of 3 steps, if you will, is we unwind the patterns first, have a little discussion, go meet with the horses, whatever that person needs at that time, to kind of start to see what shows up, that disconnect or the anger, whatever's coming up. And at that moment, we become self-aware. We start developing that self-awareness, which means that person or people have a choice. And that's right there is hopeful in itself,
Huge.
just knowing that, oh, I do have a choice. And then we get to practice the how. So what choice do you want to make? And let's see how it comes out. And then you get to say, well, that worked for me. All right, well, let's keep practicing that, so you can put that in your toolbox. So you know how to manage someone who's got high anxiety, higher than you, and it's triggering you. You can learn, okay, I need to calm down. I need to help them with this, or I need to walk away from, and then we get to do these different skill sets and practice them in the moment in different situations, because the horses are going to show up different every time. You're going to show up different every time. And what I always say is the horses give us what we need and then show us what we need. And I know for myself, that's exactly what's happened, still does to this day, and will until I'm off this planet. But that's part of my legacy, is to teach people those hows, so that can keep going.
Yes. And then, on top of it, you've been where a lot of these people are. So you not only know from experience, but have compassion for them.
Absolutely. 100%. I get it. When somebody says XYZ to me, it's like, yep, been there. I know exactly what it's like not to keep yourself safe or know how to do it, where you constantly get hurt by everybody, where you're not sure of your boundaries or, whatever it is. That, yes, I can have empathy for them. I can connect because I do get it. And if I don't, I'll say I don't, but there's something in my past that can come close and we can figure it out. And that's what connection is about for self and for others, to have healthy relationships, or healthier, whether it's intimate, work related, family, friendship, business partners, all that. Everything in our life is about a relationship at some level.
Yes.
And if we don't have the right relationship skills, or we keep repeating the stuff that doesn't work, our toolbox is broken, we're going to be unhappy. We're going to not be able to fulfill our potential and live life in a better degree. And
I
that's
love that.
something that we all deserve to have, no matter what. And to me, that's the power of the horses.
I really appreciate you taking this time to come here, and I just hope that and trust that lots of people, and especially those who are in need of this, will see this right when they're supposed to. Right when they're supposed to. I was looking to see if we had someone or anyone who had questions, but I can't see them. If we do, I can't. I don't see it. So I apologize if you are here and have questions. It's not showing me.
Well, my information is behind me, as you can see, so they can contact me or contact you, and we'll connect.
Yes, and I have the flyers that you gave me yesterday. I can put them up on the screen if you want me to.
That's fine. Absolutely.
Okay.
Something I want to kind of close with is with my nonprofit. My mission statement is really simple, and it's to reconnect people with their true selves. That's the mission of Spirit Mountain Healing Services.
To reconnect people with their true selves. Yeah. I love that, because I was just about to say, when you said that everything has to do with relationships, and the first relationship we have to focus on is the relationship with ourselves.
Exactly.
I think people are not even aware that they have a relationship with themselves, let alone how it's affecting them.
Yeah, as disconnected, right. The vision statement then is to serve individuals, organizations, and communities in creating sustainable connections with self, society, and the world through horse-guided life coaching. And then my purpose is to serve humanity by empowering growth and learning for a sustainable future through horses. And that's what Spirit Mountain Healing Services is all about. However I get there, whether it's through the Shattered Humans, Healed Souls program, which right now is for 18 and above, working with recently released incarcerated and veterans to help manage the effects of abuse that we all have either gone through ourselves, or we know someone close that has, and that affects us deeply. Excuse me. I'm working on developing the same program then for 18 and below, basically from 5 to 17.
Wow.
Same thing. I'm currently working with the Queen Creek Rotary Club and the city of Queen Creek and the chamber to help provide services, because teen suicide is becoming a huge issue, and Queen Creek is working on facing that problem head on to provide services, to provide resources, and that for those that are struggling with that they've either lost a teen themselves as a parent. I'm a parent as well, or, the teen is struggling with losing friends, and that, as my client, that previous client just emailed me about. I want to be a part of anything and everything that I can do that, whether it's presentations with or without the horses, workshops, supporting both clientele and the professionals. I'm out there to make a difference, whatever that looks like, because Spirit Mountain needs to be there. And this is my purpose, and I'm willing to do that until the day I'm no longer on this planet.
I love that. I love that. And I'm so excited. That's why I'm excited to be able to have this time with you and share it with everyone, everywhere I can. That's
Absolutely.
my intention.
I do
Because
not believe in coincidences. The universe has brought things to us when we need it, even though it's not on our time scale. And when we let go of that, yeah, the right things happen when they're supposed to. And I truly believe why you and I've met, why we're on this podcast, why certain things are happening all with me in the time frame. And it's definitely an adventure that I'm really looking forward to going on with everyone and anyone who wants to join and be part of this herd.
I just find it fascinating that people don't have to suffer.
No.
They don't have to suffer. There's not only hope, more than hope. There are wonderful resources.
Mhm.
Spirit Mountain, it's amazing. And when you make that step to go in that direction, to go to Spirit Mountain, to do the work there, it becomes fun. It's more
Yes.
fun and exciting than going to school.
Absolutely.
It's like getting a whole new life
Yes.
and an understanding and a relationship with yourself, a purpose for your life. Because even all of that experience, all of that, the experiences that you had that led you up to going there, and the experience that you have there, and the experiences that you have from there, all have a purpose. They're a part of your purpose for being here now.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because a client of mine, I was seeing one of her sons teenage, and they had to take a break, something shifted and stuff, but she reached out to me recently and said, all right, he's asking to come back, he wants to come back, he needs this and he knows it, and he keeps bugging me, and he's 13, 14 years old, going, I need to come back, get me there, mom, I don't care, I need to be with these horses and that. And I mean, how powerful is that?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
I'm the one that fosters it and develops it, but you know, the power of the horses, and that this young man knows already the power of it, and that he is willing to step out of that. To me, that's just so powerful, because I know as he gets older, he's going to do better, and that at someday, if he has kids, they're going to do better. And we start processing back again. We've got to get this spiral from spiraling down. We need to be more proactive rather than reactive, because reactive kills us. I mean, our suicide rates are just going through the roof. Domestic violence, alcoholism, substance abuse, they were all going crazy before pandemic, but they are out of control right now. And there's not enough of us healers and helpers to be here. But we're growing 5 extra ones right now. There are 3 big ones and 2 miniatures that are here, willing and able and ready in a moment to help you find hope, to live a better life and empower yourself to be the best that you can be and go find your purpose in life.
Yes. We're talking about changing your gene expression.
Exactly.
That's called epigenetics.
Exactly.
And it changes our gene expression, the one who's experiencing it, and it changes it generationally.
Absolutely. And that's powerful, to start creating this positive spiral rather than such a negative one.
Yes. Thank you. And thank you so much, Michelle, for all that you do, for being here, for your work with like you said, your 5 helpers, 3 big ones and the 2 little ones. They're amazing. Absolutely. And they're just being themselves. And absolutely, that's what they come to teach us, right? That we can be amazing just being ourselves.
Exactly.
Let those horses teach you.
Well, I appreciate this opportunity to share my passion and what I do here at Spirit Mountain Healing Services. There's behind me ways to connect me. They can connect with you through to me, whatever. Please, if you have any questions, reach out to me. I'm more than willing to answer them and to help you start moving forward, empower yourself through horse-guided life coaching.
Yes, and the information for Spirit Mountain will be on the screen after this, and also in the description
Sounds
on
great.
the YouTube and the post.
Awesome. Well, I
Everywhere.
appreciate your time and the opportunity to share what I love to do and my passion for it. And I know we'll connect up in the future and we can do amazing things together as we all work together.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Michelle. I'm going to end this broadcast, but this is not the end of our communication. You can definitely communicate with us through the comments. Please do. And I'm going to say bye-bye for now.